The content of this channel is for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification button. And please, feel free to share the video. Thank you. What's good, everybody? What's cracking with you, man? I'm GG, man. You tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel, the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chasers, man. Now, before I get things started like I always do, man, I want to give a shout out to all the haters out there, man. How y'all doing? I hope y'all passing a good afternoon, transitioning on to the evening. Be well, people. And if you haven't done so already, man, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button, bell notification button as well so you can stay on top of what's cracking here on the Green Gorilla channel. Pronto. And as I always do, I want to give a shout out to all the members of the Green Gorilla channel, so let's take care of that process. Big up to Lee Ways, AKs and Curtains, Press Start, H-Town, Rogish the Billmonger, Lord Hamal, Number 4, Brotherly Love 215, and Adrian Thomas. Big up to y'all. Big up to J. Cleveland Green, Outside the Cube, Electrician 480, Gabinga O, Cutting Up with the Jones, Zanco 1, D. Scott, Julius Ferguson, Path Guy 74, and Black Swerve 404. Big up. Big up to Pete Rock 496, Tahuti of New Comet, Gold Professor, Aaron Peters, Barnolis, Dardar, Michael Ross, Vincent Lindsay, Michael Pearson, Beautiful Trauma. Big up. Big up to Quiz the Poet, Black Wizard 80OS, Jazz Tech, Shadow Observer, Sugar T, Artisan MC, Nasiana, Kyle J. Sura, Kareen, and Troy Warren. Big up. Big up to Jeff R., Mrs. KP Bailey, Ricky Dawson, Alan Wiley, The Face, Mantis on Break, Life of Commerce, True 7360, Marvin Evans, and A. Wilson's Ghost. Big up. Big up to Timothy Blewett, Jeffrey Speed, Marvin Battle Jr., Mark Holt, John J., Afro Troop TV, Adam, BGS Ibmore, and Ignatz Mouse. Big up. Big up to Brian Peaks, Papa Dida, Scott Haywood, Black Uru Strikes, Dr. Tree 33, Leroy Honeycutt, Supertech, 77 Base X, Brian McMurray, Karan S., and Anthony Davis. Big up. Big up to Charles Rogers, Rick Ross, Sandra Jean, Charles Gilmore, Patricia Colley, Greg, Barry Little, Mr. Valentino, Jason Hales, and Black Men Being Brutally Honest. Big up. Big up to Cameron 87, Dr. Rock, Mark Swift, Odd Collar, Donald Watts, Coach Hotep, Old Soul Chief, Mr. Blue Collar, I'm Just Jules, and TD Hip Hop Media. Big up. Big up to Drew Main, Mr. Heat, Sir Anthony, MLR, Universal 178, Rashid Barnes, Aaron Smith, DH, The Revelator, and Aaron Infinite. Also, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, Kalanja Kala, Hostile ADEP, and W. Pierre 1. Big up. And I can't forget my brothers in heaven, Force Windu, David Carroll, and Kevin Samuels. Big up to those people, man. And on my Patreon side, I can't forget Jay Live, Rashawn Phillips, Keith Bass, Nick, Malcolm Smith, Rock One, Albert C., Dr. Ben Vincent, I Am the Light of My Father, Waffle Weave, William Joyner, Tyrone Hampton, Darnell Smith, Excalibur, Anu 219, Pursuer Prisoner, Taz, Dragon 59, Adrian Hicks, Jay Bailey, Mr. Michi Momal, and Asang. Well, big up to all y'all, man. Thank you so much for your ongoing support for the Green Gorilla channel. And if you're inquiring about how you can support the Green Gorilla channel on an ongoing basis, here's how you do it. What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel, the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chaser. Today, I want to introduce you to my new membership program, that consists of 5 levels where you can invest in the Green Gorilla channel on a monthly basis and receive level-specific perks. Memberships are special because they improve the quality of the content of the channel and will help me to be able to keep the channel going. Now, to participate in the Green Gorilla channel membership program, all you have to do is hit the join button, which is located right next to the subscribe button on my channel page. Now, for all of my subscribers who decide not to participate in my membership program, nothing will change. The content will keep coming the way it always has. Thanks for watching, and be careful out here, people. Bless. All right, man, we back. You know who I am. I'm GG. You tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It's the place where black men are able to express themselves freely, straight up, with no motherfucking chasers. You know how we do around this camp. No chasers whatsoever, man. So it is what it is. But before I get started, I want to give a shout out to ICIP13. Thank you so very much, sir, for the kind donation. Appreciate that. And also I want to give a shout out to Sam C. Appreciate your donation, sir. Thank you so much for the support. And today, what I have done is I've been preparing myself to have a conversation about Kanye Weezy, Conway Yeezy, whatever you want to call him, man. Yeezy, Yay, West, whatever you want to call him, man. I'm prepared to have a conversation, but I'm not going to do it alone. Brought in a good friend of mine, man. His name is K. I'm going to call him KM, man. What's good with you, Carl? Can you hear me, bro?
Yo, can you hear me?
I hear you, man. Now, let me tell you something.
Hey.
Hold on, before I say something, man, before you talk, man, I want to say this, man. This guy here, man, is one of my best friends in the entire world, man. You understand what I mean? And I've been knowing this dude since kindergarten, you feel me? And he ain't part of the Black Manosphere, okay? But this is my brother, man, and he had a conversation and asked me what I felt about this topic today. And it was his birthday yesterday, so give him a shout out, man. This is my man, Carly Roos is what they call him in St. Louis, baby. Hold on, man. I can do it better than that, bro.
I know.
There you go, man. Yeah.
Yo, GG, man. G to the motherfucking G. What's up with it, baby, man? Thank y'all. Hey, family, what's good with y'all? What's good?
Man. This is my brother from another mother for real. Like when I say a brother from another mother for real, this is my motherfucker for real. You understand what I'm saying?
True speak.
This is true speak. You know what I mean? And we done been through a lot of situations, man, together, man, you know, since kindergarten, bro. So that's how we, you know, we just, and one thing I know about my nigga Roots, man, you understand what I'm saying? He's a motherfucking lady killer, boy. Hey, man, you know my name that I used to have for you. You know my nickname for you, man.
Hey, man, Frankie Lyman, baby.
Frankie Lyman, baby. Goody.
Frankie Lyman, man.
And look, you know, one of the things, man, that you got to understand about, you know, us. I don't know about a lot of guys out here, but I know about my guys. Okay?
Real talk.
We ain't never had no problem getting no pussy, man.
You hear me.
Since we was in high school, okay?
Dog. Yeah, I mean,
and man, right now they calling us incels and shit all over the media and shit, you know, basically saying that, you know, we disgruntled black men who are dusty and crusty and we don't have access to women because we don't have game and shit like that.
Nah, man, the problem was with the pussy was the problem. All right. I said it.
The problem ain't getting the first or second base. It's the after the home run problem. That's the problem.
You hear me?
You understand what I mean? It's when you get the kids and shit like that popping that it becomes a problem.
Straight
But we
up,
ain't gonna
straight
even.
up.
But we ain't gonna even talk about that. So what we want to do is talk about Kanye West, man. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's the point of contention. That's the point of discussion. Okay. And
Right.
the question is whether or not Kanye West is losing his ever loving mind. Now,
Yeah.
now let me just say this, bro. When it comes to White Lives Matter, man, to me, that's a no-go, sir. I'm sorry, man. When it comes to White Lives Matter, man, to me, that is an absolute no-go. Wrong answer, bro.
Right. Right.
You know, and it's not as if I don't understand that white lives matter, because they do, because they're living, and they ought to be afforded in virtue of being persons or human beings. They ought to receive respect just in virtue of living. However,
Right.
in the context of what the
that.
fuck is taking place in these here United States over the centuries, okay? Over the centuries, the decades, the inception of the nation basically started off on a foot in which we were relegated to fucking chattel slavery, bro. So in relation to White Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, so on and so forth, man, look, I can't get with it, bro. I'm just keeping it a buck on that score.
Okay? And they came out the oven, man. The pussy we was talking about, it was baked into them, bro. Like, so the two are not, you know, systemically as we were, you know, enslaved and all of that, bro. The same way they systemically was entitled, and so there's that. You know what I'm saying? They came out the oven baked with fucking entitlement.
Hey, bro,
So of course,
I love that, bro.
matter.
I love you. I love that you said that. And you know you one of my favorite niggas in the world. You know that, right?
Okay, yeah. For sure,
I'm just saying.
for sure.
So you know, like, and we think not always alike, but we share enough knowledge in common, and we have enough shared experiences in common to know what the fuck is going on in these here United States of America, bruh. Especially coming up from where we came up from and growing up in the neighborhoods we grew up in. And then
the schools we went to.
And the schools we went to. Let me tell you something about my nigga Roots here, man. Hey, bro. First of all, let me just say this, man. Shout out to Barry Little. I appreciate your donation, sir. Appreciate that. Also, shout out to Gold Professor. Appreciate the donation, sir. Appreciate it. And Electrician 480. Appreciate your donation, sir. Appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? So look. We went to the same school since kindergarten.
For 12 years.
Up through 12. Now we branched off from there, but we developed a bond that'll never be broken. Do you understand what I'm saying?
And still here rocking.
Still here rocking, bro.
Come on.
Because we've been knowing each other since we ain't know how to read.
Right.
You understand what I mean? To learning, and then going to this white boy high school we went to.
Coming
you know
from
what I'm
an
saying?
all-black grade school. Both private,
know.
by the way, y'all. I'm just saying. I'm up on those, but real talk. Yeah. Both private, anyway, coming from all-black grade school to all-white high school. Real shit.
Man, and it was a hell of a culture shock, though.
Right.
But why is this even relevant, though? Let me stop you for a second, because I gotta give my commentary, and then I'm gonna have you weigh in and come in and state your opinion on it. But let me just say this, man. As an average African American man, and in my day-to-day interactions with white people, I can't tell them apart from each other, bruh.
Right.
And what I mean by that is this. I am incapable of separating white people into ethnic groups based on the perception of their phenotype, looking at their bodies. You know what I'm saying? Looking at their faces.
Right.
I can't tell a Jew from a Gentile. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Yes, sir. Of course.
I can't.
Yeah.
Those are the facts. That's the fact. So, but whereas the average person might be able to discern the various ethnic groups summed up under the homogenizing label of whiteness, I can't.
Right.
I cannot. Now, I attended, just like you attended, a predominantly white high school. Okay? Right. And I can vividly remember the various ways in which the white boys there, and it was an all-boys school, man. Okay?
Yep.
They would incessantly, but jokingly, speak to each other derisively about their European ethnicity. Now, what I mean by that is this. For black people using nigger speak, they would joan on each other. They would rib each other. They would play the dozens with each other by calling each other ethnic slurs. They would call each other Polacks, Wops, grease balls, mix, Hoosiers, Dagos, and Jews. We saw it up close and personal, bruh. These are the facts. This is something we saw day to day.
Yeah.
Okay? Day to day. And they would laugh their asses off at these kind of jokes and these kind of put downs. Okay? Not only would the white students participate in this practice, but the white faculty
did the same
as
thing.
well.
Right.
Both, and we went to a Catholic high school, bruh.
I'm telling you.
The clergymen and the faculty would use ethnic slurs. The faculty and the clergy.
Right.
I also got my man Marcus Aurelius up in this bitch. Keep it 100. What's cracking with you, dog?
Hey man, what's going on, man?
What's cracking with you? I ain't think you was gonna show. I was like, man, my man, man, he dipped and dived on me. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I dozed off watching that Ye joint, man. I dozed off watching.
Hey man, the shit is repetitive. He gets to saying the same kind of shit after a certain period of time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I didn't watch all of this shit.
What's up, brother Marcus? By the way, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? And I didn't fall asleep because it was boring. I dozed off because I dozed off. I should have sipped some coffee. So I get up real early in the morning. But yeah, man. But yeah. What's going on, man? Nah, I'm in here.
Yeah.
Man.
What's up, man? Pleasure, bro. Right. That's what's up. Let's talk.
Yeah, what they say on YouTube, let's cook this shit here. Let's break it down to its last compound.
So the first thing I heard you say since I jumped in here was, and I tell people this all the time, what you said about the kids calling each other. There's kids you talking about, right? Calling each other these
derogatory slurs.
Yeah. I mean, for some, I've been saying this forever. For everybody that's like, hey, we got to ban the N-word. I'm like, everybody do this. Everybody does this. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody does this, and no, they don't do it. Like, everything that we do is somehow different than everyone else who has done it.
You're right.
But that's just my viewpoint on that. I don't know why I don't know if that was the context you brought that up in, but I've been saying that for a long time that we are not the only people who use derogatory words to this you said they call each other that.
I'm saying is they would be like, oh, you wop, or you dumb Polak,
right?
And they'll shrug it off and keep on. Right. You know what I mean? But however, I will say this, and as my nigga Roots is my witness, okay?
Yeah.
One day, a white student decided to call one of us a nigger.
Right.
And to be quite honest, I'm just being honest about this. We're adolescents. We 16, 17 at the time. Okay. Now, we sophomores, if my memory serves me correctly, bruh. We sophomores in this bitch, okay? And let me just say this, man. It's about 6 or 7 of us that went to the same school from the one we came from. So we already had a bond that could not be broken. This bond would not be broken. Now, we met other black students that also came in, but many of them came from black schools. And if they didn't come from black schools, they came from black neighborhoods. There was a few guys who came from affluent families or whatever, what have you. Okay?
Yeah.
But we came from the hood. Okay? That's just the facts. Okay? Yeah. We came and we had a bond that really couldn't be broken. Okay? And we ended up running that damn school, bruh. I mean, let me tell you how prolific my nigga Roots is, okay? At an all-white boy high school, they made this motherfucker Jesus. I swear to God, man, this nigga can sing, play the piano, play the drums, all kind of shit. This nigga, fastest nigga I've ever seen in terms of athletics. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't never seen a nigga run as fast as this guy, okay? So... like they made him Jesus in the like the seasonal play Godspell or some shit like that. They made him Jesus, man.
For everybody to see, is like white kids is looking at this like, wow, that's
I blew him out of the water, man. But
that's crazy.
That was something that was baked in me as a child. You know what I'm saying? Coming up, and just was a talented young guy, man, and shit, man. When it came to the auditions, it was just that. Like, okay, nah, ain't nobody touching this cat.
Nobody fucking with my nigga Roots here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And bottom line, I was the little DJ kid. You know what I'm saying? And we do parties at CBC, man. We do parties, man. I'm talking about all the niggas from the city schools. All the girls from everywhere, man, they was in love with us, bruh. And they only was in love with us probably. I'm talking about the entire St. Louis. North County, West County, South County, City. They was all coming to the CBC party, and they was all paying. And guess what? We was if they was paying, we was getting paid. Bottom line.
We was entrepreneurs. Already. We was entrepreneurs. At 17, 16, real talk.
Man, breaking me off $500-600 at the door. I ain't even at the door, but they making sure I'm getting my little issue off. Thank you.
Yeah, we was cake.
Appreciate it. But the whole point is, all of this to say, one day, one of them white boys called us a nigga. And I think he did it in that same kind of joking way. And the reason why, I ain't gonna say his name because it's unnecessary for me to say his name, okay?
Exactly.
But the rest of us didn't take it that way. Now, this speaks to Marcus's point because everybody does this, but it's a different kind of history when it comes to black folks and using the N-word.
Right.
Now, however, needless to say, the white boy got his ass beat, okay?
Right.
Now, before you get to making claims about punching down and shit like this, punching down, you beat up a little measly white boy. Let me say this, man. This was one of the beefiest white boys and cornbread fed white boys at the school. Okay? He was a high school lineman and a wrestler who could bench over 300 pounds at 16, 17. He could squat over 500 pounds, deadlifting a whole bunch of shit too. But that didn't matter. That didn't matter.
I don't think that's relevant. But yeah.
I'm just saying, but it's relevant insofar as he wasn't some little bitty scrawny punk ass white dude.
I don't think they would have cared. I don't think they'd be judging you based on the size of the white boy that said the N-word.
I agree with that. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's not something that you have to explain to folks to just, to not make yourself look like a bully or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right. But anyway, and the context of it, look, excuse me, but the context really and like, what happened was he came at our school. We had a black table, bro. That's how segregated it is. St. Louis is segregated. Period. We was at that school, and all of the black students, man, sat at the same table, pretty much. You hear me? So you came to the black table and said that shit, and that's something that you don't do. You know what I mean?
I can dig it.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he was flexing, and he got flexed on. Okay, so he had to go to the emergency room, the hospital, or whatever. And it was a big fuss about it. But within a few weeks or so, everything settled down. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, but before I go off on this tangent, I speak on this story, and I want to make it relevant to the point I want to make. And I can't speak for all black people. Okay? But I'm just going to tell you the truth. Okay? I cannot tell the difference between a Jew and any other white person. Because for the most part, to me, Jews are just plain old white people. That's what I think, man. Bottom line.
Yeah.
They just plain old white people. They
Right,
plain
no
old white people.
subcategories.
They
Correct,
plain old
correct,
white
correct.
people. Now, I also can't speak to issues that other people around the world might have with Jews outside of the United States. But I can speak to the issue that black people might have with Jews who were born, raised, and who have a familial legacy within the United States. Because, let's speak matter-of-factly about this. And this is not, you can call it whatever you want. If you want to call it anti-Semitic, you can call it that if telling the truth is anti-Semitic. I'm an equal opportunity critiquer here. Okay, that's what I do. This is a place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no motherfucking chases, bro. And if we can't do it here, where can we do it? So, at any rate, Jews, just like any other European immigrants in the United States, owned slaves. Those are the facts.
Right.
Okay? Now, you can say whatever you want to say. They own slaves here in these United States, just like any other white folks did. Okay? And Jews, just like any other European immigrants in the United States, by and large, supported and raised no big fuss about segregation and state-sanctioned terror against black people's lives.
Right.
Until after the Holocaust. But prior to that, they were getting paper and basically just white peopling. So as far as I'm concerned, they fit into the schema, the anti-black racist schema of America, just like all the other white European immigrants. And they didn't raise any major objection to it until after the Holocaust, bruh. Those are the facts.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people, shout out to Mr. Heat, I got to give him a big one on that one. Let me give him a time bomb. Now, I want to know what your opinion is on what I just said. You can disagree or you can agree, but that's just my viewpoint on this. Y'all got dirt on your hands just like everybody else in this bitch.
Right. I think the dirt starts, honestly, if you look at Jewish as a definition, bro, it starts with the philosopher Jews, man, and that's black in its entirety. So, and that's a lot of people may know that it's overlooked, but that's where that is. It's not Israel, trust me. So, you start there and you start talking about the cradle of civilization and all of that. And just like everything else, man, you know it's been taken from and colonized to a point of exception, accepting ACC amongst our people historically. And so once you know like about that and the philosophy Jews and things like that, then it you know it clears up, like even in that systemic barbarian type of action that they've done historically, man. It is what that is. And they can't wiggle out of this. They can't wiggle out of this. It's always pretty much been on when you talk about Jews, especially in our generation and generations even before us, man. It's about money. You ain't talking about Jewish people without talking about money, bro. You know what I'm saying? Well, you ain't looking at poor Jews. Sure, can you decipher a Jew, a Jewish white person in the community? Yeah, if you ride down, I'm in Atlanta, so you can ride down there, and yeah, you can see they dress a certain way, but it's always community based. You know what I mean? And that's the only way that you can decipher who they are.
And so
But
hold on, but
outside
let
of
me let
that,
me
they share the same entitlement, and have shared the same entitlement as white people, because they're not a subcategory. Not even in America, to be honest with you. They weren't like you know uh, enslaved in
we get the
America.
point. We get the point, Roots. So
Yeah.
Marcus, you want to say something about that? I see you got like a little add on you want to look at or something like that.
All right, yeah, pull that up for a second. Shout out to Kyle. You know what I'm saying? Kyle be sending me some shit. So basically, what Kyle sent me is this thing here about Judah P. Benjamin, right? So Judah P. Benjamin. Let me I'm trying to go back there and pull that up, right? Judah P. Benjamin. So uh this is Judah P. Benjamin, right? So he's a Jewish guy that pushed for slavery, etc. Right. So I'm let me pull up
Whiteness in
another
the South. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, shout out to my man Megatron and shit.
Big
You know
up,
what I'm
big up,
saying?
big up, big up, big up,
Let
big
me pull up this other thing he sent me here. So I'm gonna stop that for a second and let me share this. Right. So check this out here. It says how Judah Benjamin, a Jewish Confederate slave owner who decried slavery,
Make it
came.
larger. Make it larger.
All right.
Plus it up.
I'm blowing it up myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me get rid of this thing down here. Yeah. Yeah. So is that big enough?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jewish Confederate slave owner who decried slavery came to embody so many contradictions. Judah Benjamin. Right. So in 1842, Judah P. Benjamin stood inside a New Orleans courtroom and declared that was it? Oh, this is a guy saying slavery is against the law of nature. Let me see. It was part of a winning argument as to why insurance company did not have to pay the slave ship Creole's owners after its cargo of enslaved people revolted and escaped.
Mhm.
Okay.
So that kind of argues against your point. It seems like,
I'm trying to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm reading it as well.
No, but it
but
said
it's contradictions though.
that's what I'm saying. That's what it says next. It says, meanwhile, less than 10 miles away from the courtroom, more than 140 slaves were laboring in the fields of Belle Chase, Benjamin's sprawling sugarcane plantation.
God damn.
Right? Such were the contradictions.
God damn.
So he was talking shit. I think this had to do more with the the insurance, than anything else. Says such were the contradictions of the life of Benjamin, who was one of the most prominent and also one of the most reviled American Jews in the 19th century, and who is now the subject of James Traub's Judah Benjamin, counselor to the Confederacy, recently publishes as part of Yale's Jewish Live series, a book that explores the forces that shaped the Jewish immigrant who was called the brains of the Confederacy. So
the brains of the Confederacy.
So this doesn't contradict us. He contradict his motherfucking self. That's
right.
Exactly.
You right.
Exactly.
I stand corrected. I stand corrected. I made it full screen, BGS. All praises due to BGS, though. I got to give my man a shout out, man. All praises due to the Black Gnostic Speaks, man. Straight up. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to BGS.
So look, let me go back. Let me remove this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I want to show you something myself since we presenting. Okay? You know, since we're presenting. Okay, can you see that? Can you see that?
Yeah, definitely.
Half-truths in history, the debate over Jews and slavery. Now, I'm not going to read all the introductory shit here, man. Because, I mean, ultimately, there was a black, an Afrocentric scholar in New York, shout out to New York, who made a speech in Albany cataloging the supposed crimes of Jews against black people. One of the things he said was, everyone knows rich Jews helped finance the slave trade. Some commentators treated this not as a demagogic simplification, but as a flat-out historical lie. So then he talks about Farrakhan, and they published a book called The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to really get into all of that, but why not? Anyway, quoting the extensive research of Jewish historians to indict, in effect, today's Jews for everything from the ownership of South American sugar plantations 3 centuries ago to Jewish participation in the Confederate war effort. Oh, shit.
There we go.
When a black professor at Wellesley College assigned the book to his introductory African American history class, the Jewish students protested. Shout out to critical race theory. See, I'm telling you, what to me, I'm just gonna keep it a buck here. A white person is a white person is a white person. Whether motherfucker's a Jew or Gentile, bruh.
Right.
Okay? I'm just gonna keep it a buck here,
Democrat.
man.
But go ahead. I said or Republican or Democrat. But go ahead.
Republican or a Democrat.
Right.
But Roots know I'm on this. I've been on this for hellas. You understand what I'm saying? Like my viewpoints didn't just develop in a bubble. And you've been knowing me for hellas, Roots, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, both the Simon Wiesenthal Center and Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith have published rebuttals comparing the secret relationship to the most infamous works of anti-Semitic propaganda in the 20th century. Now, that's because Farrakhan wrote the shit, okay? However, Farrakhan was drawing upon the work of Jewish scholars themselves. Anyway, some observers acknowledge that certain communities of Jews participated directly in black slavery, but in far smaller numbers than non-Jews among the Portuguese, Dutch, English, and French, than Arabs or than Africans themselves. So there's always this fucking throwback to Africans was also participants in the slave trade. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, I don't give a fuck because I wasn't born in fucking Africa. I was born in fucking America. Period. I'm ADOS, an American descendant of slavery. So I'll indict them just like I'll indict any goddamn body else. Whether they be, what's the tribe from the Woman King and shit?
The homie.
The homies. Fuck them too. Okay? Anyway.
But they were so strong and beautiful.
But look, let me just say this, and I was telling my man Carly Roos this earlier though.
Right.
And I'll say it again. Go read Ulato Equiano or what I forget the other name for him. But basically, slavery in Africa is different qualitatively than chattel slavery, the kind of slavery that existed in the Americas over the course of the transatlantic slave trade. Right. We talking about two different animals.
Right. Yeah, just like indentured servitude of people from Ireland and all of that is not the same as chattel slavery. Let's call
Right,
it all. Let's
right.
call it all out. You know what I mean? Let's
Yeah,
call it
real
all out.
talk. Yeah.
So anyway, to a few critics, even mentioning Jews in the slave trade is hateful and bigoted. How so if it's the truth? How so? How is telling the truth when you got archival evidence and you got historical evidence, empirical evidence that demonstrates your hands just as dirty as any other white motherfuckers here related to this practice? And even beyond it as well. And we're going to show that as well. Then all of a sudden, if saying the truth about the shit, all of a sudden becomes hateful and anti-Semitic, man. How?
Yeah. Yeah.
How, bruh? How? But anyway, they say they were not significantly involved. They claim, contrary to the scholarly record, much of it compiled by historians who are Jewish. Then he goes on to say, there's somebody who says there wouldn't have been any slave trade at all, syndicated columnist Nat Hentoff told me, if it had not been for the middlemen, the chiefs of certain African tribes who had captured people from other tribes and enslaved them. It's important to say Africans have also sold Africans. It's important to know that. There's the deflection. See, when the heat is on your ass, what you do is then you start to blame everybody else. That's that Kobe shit. Now, I love Kobe, but that's that Kobe. Well, Shaq was fucking bitches too. Come on, man.
Him.
He was fucking these hoes too.
Him.
That's what we call dry snitching.
Right.
What about you though? Your demographic, your population. Now you want to start fucking saying everybody else. What about you? What about you, motherfucker? Now he said,
right.
And then the author goes on. I just kind of want to get through this because I got some more to say. It is indeed important to understand all aspects of the history of slavery. For African American people to understand their place in the world, the history of slavery is as important as the history of the Holocaust for the Jews. Say it again. Just as the Holocaust is important to you and you want to figure shit out related to it, we want to figure shit out related to slavery. And we ought to be able to do it without being labeled.
Right.
And being basically hit with a fucking civil rights violation, which the fucking act was intended for us. That's who the act was intended for. Not everybody else, everybody and their goddamn mama and their granny and them want to fucking use this legislation in order to try to silence us. But
Yeah,
I ain't gonna get to that yet.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna get to that yet. Anyway, no element of a great tragedy is too small to be explored, particularly if it has been generally ignored. Isn't it also important, I ask Hentoff, to know that Jews bought and sold Africans? If it's indeed the case, of course, if it's the case. Acknowledging that he is not a scholar on the subject. If you can, but you're a scholar on niggas selling niggas though, right?
Right.
You're a scholar on that.
Yeah.
You know all about that. What you know about that? I know all about that.
Selected.
You know, I know all about that. Okay, so if you can nail that down, right? If you can nail that down, that would be important. Yeah, that'd be important. So anyway, most Americans used to imagining slavery in terms of cotton fields and the Old South don't realize that the transatlantic slave trade sent Africans primarily, and this is the truth here though, and I try to tell people, most of the slaves that came from Africa weren't brought to America. 5% of the slaves in the transatlantic slave trade were brought to America. Okay, I mean, the United States of America, put it that way. Okay? Primarily to South America and the islands of the West Indies. According to one well-regarded census, 9.6 million Africans arrived alive in the so-called New World from the 16th century through the 19th. Of these, less than 5%, or 500,000, were brought to what is now the U.S. Nearly 4 million went to Brazil, the largest single devourer of African labor. There,
Right.
the average lifespan of a slave was a few years. Most Americans don't realize that the transatlantic slave trade was driven by the sugar trade. Okay? It wasn't in America, it was cotton, but this motherfucker owned a sugar cane plant too, didn't he? this old Confederate Jew of the South, right?
Right.
It would appear so.
Right.
At least one, at least.
So sugarcane was a scarce medicinal plant in medieval Europe. But when white colonizers started cultivating sugar in the fertile tropics of the Americas, it rapidly became a staple and a great source of wealth for Europe's shipping and trading powers. This new world economy of sugar and slaves, of vast labor-intensive plantations, began in earnest in Brazil during the 1500s, according to historians. The involvement of Jews in black slavery began there also. Brazil. The Portuguese were, and this is like an asterisk, so, the Portuguese were the first to colonize Brazil, and Sephardic Jews from Portugal were among the early settlers. In its early years, writes Seymour B. Lightman, which sounds Jewish, in New World Jewry, okay, from 1493 to 1825. Brazil was built by Negro slaves and the acumen, hard work, and calculating perseverance of the Jews. You mean counting niggas? Bro. Counting niggas and making sure they doing the work?
About that shit earlier. Yeah.
Some background is essential. The Sephardim, that is the Jews of Spain and Portugal, had flourished for centuries in the Iberian Peninsula. By 1497, they made up an estimated 20% of Portugal's population of 1 million. But that year, the King of Portugal compelled the Jews to convert to Christianity. Spain had similarly forced its Jews to convert or flee 5 years earlier. While many Jews left Portugal, others indeed were baptized and became new Christians. Despite the church's persecution, some continued to practice Judaism in secret. They came to be known as Marranos. New Christians were drawn to Brazil in part because it was far from the seat of the Inquisition, but also because the South American colony was a place where the Sephardim could apply their established expertise in trade and sugar cultivation. Soon, a Sephardic community thrived in Brazil's pivotal port city of Recife. When the Dutch, then unique in Europe for the religious tolerance, or their religious tolerance, took control of Brazil in 1630, the Marranos there were able to practice Judaism openly again. During this time in Brazil, Jews owned a small percentage of the sugar plantations, but were the predominant retailers of slaves in the colony. You get that? Yeah. They were the main buyers and sellers of the slaves themselves, even though they might not have owned all the damn plantations. They were the ones trafficking the slaves. The vast majority of went to this goddamn region. You starting to get the picture here, okay? Yeah. The shipping of Africans to Brazil was monopolized by the Dutch West India Company, which sold them at public auctions against cash payments, which Nitzer writes, which sounds Jewish. The buyers who appeared at the auctions were almost always Jews. Sorry about the indigo for the fucked up pronunciation, but hey, I'm doing the best I can on the fly. Okay? But all of this to show, yes. Y'all were engaged in the fucking slave trade. Yes, you were. You had a prominent role to play in the slave trade. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
And in marketing, in marketing our skills, talents, resources, and all of that, and they're still doing it. And they're still
doing it. Now, here's the funny thing about it. So the ugly reality is that Jews, just like any other white people, were heavily involved in the transatlantic slave trade, both in the United States, as we have seen with the Confederate Jew of the South, okay, and in other parts of the Americas. And by and large, American Jews supported Jim Crow.
Yeah. Right.
They supported Jim Crow. They did, up until after the Holocaust. After that, they changed their tune. It is what it is. Now, as I said before, this is not to say that every single person of Jewish ethnicity in the Jim Crow era was a raving racial bigot. But there is a large amount of evidence that demonstrates that they were not the staunch proponents of civil rights that they pretend to be.
Let's not call them an ethnicity, though.
Yeah, right.
Let's not do that.
And they still aren't. Like, yeah.
They're not an ethnicity. Judaism is a religion, and I just had this conversation with my guys. There's this idea that when Whoopi said, it's not racism. These are white people, right? So that they I don't care what Hitler said. Hitler doesn't, decide if someone is a race or not. They're not a race of people. The Jewish people that they killed in Germany were white Germans who practiced Judaism.
Right.
That's what they were. Okay. It was white people in Europe. They weren't from a place called Jew or Jewland.
My point is that.
You understand what I'm saying?
But the larger point. Okay, so I will refrain.
I just wanted to point that out for the listeners before they say it. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
Right.
It makes sense to me, and I am amenable to reason.
Right.
So if I am corrected, I stand corrected. And this is what Roots was talking about, and I know I'm saying Roots, but I call him Carly Roots. I don't call him Carl McRoberts. I named the nigga Carly Roots. You know what I'm saying? Which became his name, which everybody calls him now. I give niggas nicknames and shit like that. But the whole point is, at the end of the day, these are some white dudes, man. And white women, man. It is what it is. Now, and yeah, you could say they came from Eastern Europe or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But let's be frank about this, man.
So let me say one thing.
Hold on, Marcus. I want to finish my thought.
Right.
Because this is what black people been. Jews keep the people who contemporarily identify as Jewish in terms of religious demographic incessantly make it appear to be the case that they are the original Israelites in the Bible, man. And so there's a bone of contention about this related to some people. Now, I will admit,
it's more than that. Right.
I'm not an expert on this area of inquiry, okay? But it's worthy of investigation, is what I'm saying. So, I didn't know that Eastern Europeans was really actually the main characters in the fucking Bible. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. They weren't. I didn't learn that.
They weren't.
So how now? The question is how now?
So let me say a couple of things. I want to respond to a couple of things that was said in the chat, right? So Trey Dog's training. Troy's dog training. My bad. He said Judaism is not only a religion; they are a tribe of people, and they aren't white. So let's talk about that for a second.
Jews.
Right. Let's. When we talk about Eastern European people, that's where we get the term Jew-ish. How okay, ish. Kind of like, sort of like,
kinda, right,
close to, maybe so.
Exactly.
My car's not red. It's kind of reddish. You know what I'm saying? Blackish.
Right.
Right.
Real talk.
They're Jewish. They're not Jews. Jews, like my man says, they aren't white folks. Jews are Semitic from Africa. And let's talk about the term Semitic. the people we call Jewish are not Semitic.
I'm telling
Okay,
you, bro.
they're not Semitic. Okay, so when these people accuse anyone of being anti-Semitic, ask them what Arabs are.
Right.
Arabs are Semitic. These are
Absolutely.
white folks killing Arabs. Semitic is an ethnicity, and Jewish is not.
Yeah.
It's not. These are Eastern Europeans. These are white people committing genocide on Semitic Arabs. Arabs are Semitic. These motherfuckers, these motherfuckers are not
Straight up
Semitic.
and down. Straight up and
These
down.
are white people. Okay, so if
up and down.
anybody is anti-Semitic, it's them. Okay,
and this is the thing, but they're gonna call us anti-Semitic. They're gonna call us that because we have the audacity to even investigate the matter. Like right now, you can't even say shit because the first thing they gonna come out and say is, well, that's anti-Semitic. Like we are responsible for the Holocaust. But let me tell you something. So we cleared that up. And we're gonna get a little more clear about this. Because we here are the group of persons who we straight up no chaser, man. And I don't hate these people. Like I said before, I don't hate them. Okay? But I have indignation at some of their practices. And I have a repulsion for some of the shit that they're doing. Okay? As white people, I clarified that from the beginning. I can't tell a Jew from a Gentile contemporarily. I cannot. If somebody was to, maybe from their last name I could tell, if I knew their last name, but just looking at them, how am I able to recognize the difference? I can't. Because you look like a white person to me. That's just, it is what it is. So at the end of the day, not only were they involved in the slave trade, they also were proponents of segregation. I have another thing I want to show you. This is from Richmond University. Richmond University, EDU. And I'm going to share the screen. Chrome tab. History Engine 3.0. You can see the screen here. I'm going to make it bigger. So this is taught. This appears on richmond.edu's and I'll leave a link for you to see it for yourself. See, copy. I'll put it in the chat. Okay. Anyway, one Jew's rebuttal to the civil rights movement. And it's taught in a course called Historian's Craft, University of Alabama at Birmingham, but it's found on the Richmond EDU website, okay? In 1957, an anonymous Jewish citizen in Greenwood, Mississippi created a pamphlet called A Jewish View on Segregation. This is even after the Holocaust, okay? In his pamphlet, he gives an account of why the Jewish population should prefer segregation. His premise is the same as white Southerners, which he is a fucking white Southerner, as far as I'm concerned. Right. That the innate inferiority of African Americans would leave them incapable of competing on equal terms in an integrated society. He claims that, like the master of the antebellum plantations of years past, the white Southerners still had the African American in their charge and needed to segregate them from society where they could still flourish at their own speed. And it ain't fast enough for us, bro. He cites education as being his primary reason against integration. He argues that if the overwhelming ratio of African American pupils were allowed to intermingle with white students, it would lower the quality of education received by all white children. African American children, that's what I assume that was intended here, were on many occasions behind in their school studies and would often have to repeat a grade. These at-risk children would in turn be older than the range of the average grade level student and therefore have a hand in exposing to younger students to negative influence. The meaning of the pamphlet goes against the conventional narrative that all Southern Jews were sympathetic to the plight of African Americans in their struggle for equality. An opinion poll in 1959 concluded that the Southern Jewish population was more supportive of civil rights than most Southern whites, although they tended to feel this way in secret. The goal of many Southern Jews was to keep a conservative political profile for fear of falling prey to heavy scrutinizing by Southern Gentiles in the form of Jim Crow laws. To the Southern Jewish businessmen, Jim Crow laws were similar to Nuremberg laws, blase, blase. But we talking about prior to that even. They were still supporting the shit. Anyway, these laws were put into force to keep patrons away from European Jewish merchants in the form of boycotts and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it goes on to say, Clive Webb, author of Fighting Against Fear, states most Southern Jews were inherently sympathetic towards black struggle for racial equality. Their actions were constrained by political circumstances. I say, fuck that. You're constrained by political circumstances. Either we dealing with justice or we dealing with injustice. Either we dealing with right or wrong. Either we dealing with people who are willing to step up like the Quakers did and put their fucking money where their mouth is and stand up for what's right, or either they gonna go along to get along so the attention don't fall on their heads. Bottom line, ain't none of this you get off because, well, I didn't want to get the attention on me. Motherfucker, we talking about a group of people being hung from trees, having crosses burned on their lawns, subjected to continuous and systematic terror. And now all of a sudden, well, they didn't have very much a choice in the matter. In philosophy, it's something called the banality of evil. Hannah Arendt talked about it. One of the critical theorists in the Frankfurt School, she basically said, it ain't nasty and hateful people that create evil in the world. Evil in the world arises when good people don't stand in and intervene when some fucked up shit is going down.
Right.
It's called the banality of evil.
Yeah, it's something I spoke on. Evil wins when good men do nothing. And you know, I've said that phrase several times, and people get on my nerves with that type of thinking. They get on my nerves with it. You understand what I'm saying? On many occasions, I've been told to chill, calm down, this, that, and the third. I mean, I posted, I ain't gonna say a name, but I posted, something in the on my community tab about somebody. Somebody was like, "Oh, that ain't a good look." I don't care what's a good look or not, man. If somebody is an issue, they need to be called out. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? Y'all complaining about the outcomes and the results of people like this, but y'all don't want to deal with the people like this. Like, come on.
Right.
Man.
So let me say this. When you examine the facts, I can only conclude that they are not the innocent bystanders who did as much as they could to protect black people's lives like the Quakers did, who I might add also at one time supported the institution of chattel slavery, but later recanted and in some sense redeemed themselves. And also, let me get this out of the way before some people say I'm uninformed. I am well aware of the people with Jewish, ancestry participating in the establishment of the NAACP. For example, in 1909, Henry Moskowitz joined W.E.B. Du Bois and other civil rights leaders to found the NAACP. I can honestly say I can rock with Moskowitz, okay? Kivy Kaplan, a vice chairman of the Union of American Hebrew Congregations, served as the national president of the NAACP from 66 to 75, and Arnie Aronson, who worked with A. Philip Randolph and Roy Wilkins to found the Leadership Conference. I'm also aware of Joel Spingarn, an educator and writer who published works of literary criticism and collections of poetry, but he's most well known for his involvement in social reform, primarily through his work with the NAACP, of which he served as chairman of the board of directors and as a president. So this is not to say that all Jews were hateful and loathing bigots and did nothing to redeem their relationship with African Americans during the civil rights era and briefly before. However, a few good Jewish people ain't all Jewish people, bruh.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
A few good Jewish people ain't all Jewish people. And the question I'm left asking is, what are Jewish people doing now?
Right.
What are you doing now? And I'm not going to even get into the issue with Israel and Palestine, because that would take much longer time than I have to allocate here.
And
but what are they
Jewish.
doing now? Now, it's one thing to talk about the few who did good during the civil rights era after the Holocaust. But what did you do before then? What was you on before then? And let me just say this shit. White folks, man, have a peculiar habit. They have a peculiar habit. What they like to do is say things like this. Well, I don't have a racist attitude. I treat everybody, like a human being and so on and so forth, right? They have this notorious habit of perceiving racism as a hateful attitude or a resentful feeling. They do this shit all the time. That's the first thing they go to, right? And let me say this before I even get into that. The same tactic that these people are using are the same kind of tactics that white women use. Well, I'm a minority group. I own slaves. I supported segregation. I was one of the main catalysts for lynching and other anti-black fuckery, but I was oppressed too. I was oppressed too. So you can't say nothing about me. Don't say anything about me. I was oppressed too. That's the first thing they start doing, man. But if you look at the pictures, man, I'm going to make myself bigger right here. If you look at the pictures, man.
Yeah.
You see that? Get the commies out. Is white women in the motherfucking picture?
They made us do it.
Are they in the picture? Are they in the picture? Don't bust them niggas to our schools. Are they in the picture, man? Our children won't be bused. Are they in the Klan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Huh? Not to say the Jews was in the Klan, but I know white women was definitely in the Klan. Are they present at lynchings?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we gonna put it on the line. The truth is the truth, man. We ain't got time to play around and pussyfoot and dance around circles and shit. We ain't got time to do that.
Can't afford to do it.
But they want to shut your ass down. Be quiet. Don't say it. Don't talk like that. Don't say anything like that. Fuck all that, man. We got to tell the truth. History is what it is. And we can't solve a problem if we don't effectively identify the problem. That is my issue with this shit. So, but not only that, these people, just a lot of people, white people in general, have a notorious habit of basically saying that racism is an attitude or a resentful feeling. But black people have continuously told white people that racism is deeper than this shit. Because neither a feeling nor a distasteful expression by itself is enough to label repugnance or indignation as innately and morally problematic. Just because you have a feeling of resentfulness and indignation does not make you a loathing racial bigot. And Jews, amongst most other ethnic groups, should be fully aware of this fact. But yet, they insist on implementing the politically correct strategy and declare any claim being levied against them as a group is anti-Semitism. But the question has to be asked, anti-Semitism in what regard? You don't get a pass just because of the Holocaust. You don't get a pass related to what the fuck your involvement was in the history of anti-black racism. You don't get a pass on that.
Yeah,
you don't get a pass. And their ability to do this hinges upon this culture's recollection of the Holocaust, which it is correct to condemn. We are correct to condemn the Holocaust. We are correct to condemn it. I am in no shape, form, or fashion endorsing, supporting, or giving sanction to genocide. I am not.
They're going to be milking that shit into the next century.
But that event does not absolve you. If you are a Jew, if you are Jewish, it does not absolve you from critique for your current or your previous exploitative practices. It does not.
Right.
Wasn't even the biggest Holocaust.
You know what Chuck D said a long time ago. You know, our story is harder than the hardcore cost of the Holocaust. I'm talking about the one still going on. I know where I'm from, not dumb diddy dumb, from the place of the bass, the big beat drum. If I gotta go back.
Right.
But let me spell this out, because I want to make it express and manifest what it is I'm talking about, bruh. You understand? I got quick facts.
How many people think they understand what racism is? Show of hands. Come on, you think you know. I'm not suggesting I know. I just have a couple of definitions that kind of came to me as I thought about. How many people think there are white racists? That there are white racists out there? How many think there are black racists out there? Okay. Now, this is an interesting thing because this becomes important as we begin to define concepts. Now, I do that. I usually define concepts all the way. But one of the things that I do is I try to help people get a picture of what I mean by racism. So tell me how it is. The first category is white racism, then we'll deal with black racism. So white racism. Tell me the ways in which white racism adversely impacts the lives of black people. Just what are the ways that white racism can adversely impact the lives of black people as a group? What are some of those ways? I'm sorry? Power, but how is that defined specifically? Education, okay. I'm sorry? Economically, employment. What else? Housing, what else? Policing. Why are we here today? Healthcare, okay. Now, we could actually kind of grow that list. Now we're going to move over to black racism. Tell me the ways in which black racism adversely impacts the lives of white people as an entire group. Thank you. The reason why you become silent, there's one that always comes up, and that's fear. White people are afraid of black people. They are afraid of us. And it's a very interesting thing because black people know it.
But I ain't gonna go in all that because that's enough to cover the point.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's a guy who basically says Troy's dog training, we don't want to talk about slavery. We don't want to talk about Jim Crow because that's just the distant past. You know, it's so far removed from my own experience. Bruh, first of all, you got to understand that history stretches forth into the future. Right. First of all, you got to understand, like, if you throw a rock into a pond, the turbulence caused to the water just doesn't happen at the point of impact, but it has ripple effects that extend equidistantly in all directions. So that's just the fucked up thing that black people got in terms of a mentality. They want to talk about right now, like right the fuck now, without understanding if your mama and daddy wasn't fucking, you wouldn't be in this bitch.
Right.
You wouldn't be here, nigga. History matters.
Right.
History matters. If your mama and your daddy didn't fuck your ass 18, 19, 30 years ago, your ass wouldn't be here.
Right.
So I don't want to hear that don't do the history on this shit. And you know what my OG used to say? You know my mom's, right? You know my mom's roots.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, of course.
You know what my mama used to say, Roots? And she like your mama too, as your mother is mine.
Right.
History tends to repeat itself.
Yeah.
That's what she told me repetitively. History tends to repeat itself. History, what a motherfucker has done before, they will do again.
Right.
If they did it before, they'll do it again.
Right.
It's part of their social practice. It's part of their cultural habit.
Correct.
If they were doing it 50 years ago, what the fuck makes you think they all of a sudden, in one generation, they just switched and changed up the whole fucking program?
No, it doesn't work that way. Right.
Nah.
Yeah.
You Negroes it fucks me up, bro.
Yeah.
And it's Negroes that think this way. It's only Negroes that think this way. It's only Negroes that think this way. Only Negroes. Right. We the only group of people that say, oh, well, that was so long ago. So long ago. It's so long ago. I can't think back. 50 years, 40, 50 years. I just don't know how to think that far back. Because, I know about me and my life and my experience. And,
coping mechanism.
I don't know about that. I'm just a little old Daffy. I like to do the Daffy dance. I like to step and fetch it and bojangle around and act like a jigaboo.
Right.
It's a coping mechanism, G. It's a coping mechanism. Understand this, right? And I'm gonna say this, right? These people, they in a way have to say that. It's a coping mechanism, meaning every other group of people that have their issue in the past or whatever, all those people that were given reparations or this or that and the other, they acknowledge what happened to Jewish people, they acknowledge what happened to Native Americans, they acknowledge what happened to like different groups of people in the past, and they acknowledge this stuff. America does not want to acknowledge, they don't want to own up, right? So it gets to a point where you have these people knowing that these people are not gonna ever give any credence or just own up to it. They, like you said, going along to get along. They're going along to get along because they feel, you understand what I'm saying, that it's not worth pushing that issue. They thinking, okay, if we keep bringing this up, keep pushing this, we're going to alienate ourselves from these folks that, we should be trying to, like I said, going along to get along. Right. That's so, and I hate to say this because I don't know if there's black conservatives in the chat, but that's the attitude of a lot of black conservatives to me. And, and I'm not saying this as a Democrat. I'm saying this as a motherfucker who don't fuck with neither side of the coin. You understand what I mean? And I get this argument from these people like, oh, you focus on racism. Absolutely. Fuck should you? Shouldn't you?
Yes.
Let me apologize to Troy's dog train. He says, I've gone through the history and I'll apologize to you. I see the evil, and I also recognize that what happened in the past is not in our control. But it is in our control to know. Because one thing the Jews say is never again. Never forget.
Right.
Yeah.
Never forget, never again. They create museums so they remember what happened to them so it doesn't repeat itself.
Right. And have a framework of reference. You know what I'm saying? And and at the same time, we if you put things on a scale, then you have to be able to, identify the difference between different whatever culture, whatever base. You have to be able to recognize that difference, bro. Real talk.
And look, let me just say this. I don't have a working relationship with Kanye, but I have met the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I have. My dad used to bang his moms. No
Absolutely.
disrespect. God bless the dead.
Real talk.
Straight up.
Real talk. Straight no motherfucking chaser, dog.
I sent him some beats a long time ago. He said one of them shits was alright. One of them was alright, but the rest of them shits is whack though, So I got kind of pissed off at him, but it is what it is. My dad had an apartment with a condo with her, with Donda. And I spoke to her on the phone. My dad worked at Chicago State. His mom worked at Chicago State. She was the chairperson of the English department. My dad did have an ongoing relationship with her.
Straight no chaser.
No disrespect to the dead, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
My man Carly Roos went to my dad's house. He still had a pair of Kanye shoes in the house. Like, tell this nigga come get his shoes.
Man, tell him, hey man, if y'all run into Kanye, hey man, because we've been heavy in music as well, but he's like, man, if y'all see Kanye, man, tell him to come get his shoes because he stole mine and left these bum shoes here. Real talk. Straight
and
up.
yeah, right now I'm screaming to Kanye, I want my daddy's records back.
Right.
Like Blind Mellow Jelly, motherfucker.
Right.
Cause my dad, you done took some records from that nigga. I want my daddy records back.
Exactly that. We talking shoes at first.
I'm just joking. I'm being silly though.
No, but records as well, because you come up on for samples, and no disrespect to Kanye on his success and achievements, but at the end of the day, man, I think the most important part with him is, again, like, when you bring him up, is who knows what he's gone through over the years and all of that, and especially recently, and he's just out there, bro. And I think mental health is important. However you grab hold to the quality of your mental health, period.
I mean, you said this before I got off the phone with you earlier today, bro. And happy belated birthday again and again to you.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But you 52, right?
Yeah.
So, God bless, and 52 more. But
bless up.
The thing that impresses upon me is we dealing with trauma, man. We dealing with black trauma.
I promise.
Dealing with black trauma, bro.
Yeah.
And to act as if it doesn't exist, to try to alpha your way out of it, to John Henry your way out of it, or to deny that the trauma even exists, undergoing this constant pressure. And to have an individual like this guy, I'm not saying he's ineloquent. I'm not saying Kanye is ineloquent. Because I think he's able to speak and articulate himself in such a way that he can be understood.
Absolutely.
Now, do I think he's unfiltered?
Exactly.
But so am I. I'm unfiltered as well.
Right.
I'm unfiltered. I'm eloquently petty. Like keep it 100. Like Marcus Aurelius sitting here. I'm eloquently petty.
Articulate assholery.
As articulate assholery.
Right.
And one of the things that's being done to us, we're being told that racism is an attitude, a feeling, and an expression.
Sure.
Incessantly, we get told this shit. But it doesn't actually take into account the various ways in which black folks are systematically, institutionally, and legally, and economically subjected to controlled and managed violence on governmentally sanctioned violence on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely, man. It's a practice that's been here for us specifically. Yeah.
And so therefore, they have flipped the script. They own slaves, supported segregation, and now, if you're angry about it, they tell you it's racist. Now, these are the same motherfuckers that said, give me liberty or give me death. Did they not say it?
Absolutely.
Both Jew and Gentile, because they was there too. Not to say that they ain't have their issues over religious differences or whatever the case may be, because there were wars that took place. I took Mr. Rohn at CBC, Western Man, and learned. You was in the same class I was.
Right.
Okay? Western Man. Right. I read all about the wars between white people over religion.
Right.
We learned about Protestantism, Martin Luther, all that shit. We learned about it. I wasn't paying much attention, but
Yeah.
It
got the grade, right.
I got the grade and got through the way, and that was a labor-intensive class. God damn, boy, they made us read and write.
Yeah.
That book was thick. That book was thick. That motherfucker was thick as amino ore. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, and this is the rub. This is the real rub. And this is the absurdity of all of this. The very people who are the most downtrodden, exploited, and marginalized have to walk on eggshells and play politically correct games.
Right.
Lest they run the risk of incurring the ire of people who were the authors of segregation and exploitation.
Absolutely.
And not only that, now all of this is connected, and I told you this when I was on the phone with you earlier as well, Ruth. Now it's about corporations and businesses and brands and shit like that. Now it's about, don't fuck up my branding. Don't fuck up my endorsements and shit like this. Don't fuck up my business. Because all of the business is based on public relations and the acceptance and the endorsement of diversity and inclusion programs and policies and shit like that.
Right, and commercialism, right, and putting fake burgers on the TV.
Putting fake ass burgers on TV. Had that. That was the shit that came up. When you see a goddamn McDonald's hamburger on TV, that ain't the real goddamn thing, bro. It ain't real.
Yeah,
it's a prop. It's a prop.
Oh, as a photographer, I can tell you that.
Right.
It's a straight up.
I didn't know that. So here we go. Right, it's a prop. It's a prop, but
So now they using this fake ass front. This a front. Oh, we're so diverse and we're inclusive and shit like this.
Right.
Our company is diverse. Our company is inclusive. So now corporations are canceling people and terminating contracts and acting like they don't want to have shit to do with you. But these motherfucking companies every day are engaged in exploitative practices economically. They're mostly the positions are filled by racist motherfuckers. Let's just keep it a bean.
Yeah.
Who subject us, as I said again, to managed and controlled violence and exploitation on a daily basis. Now, Jews might not be the only white people engaged in such practices.
And they're not, right.
But there's no doubt that they are part of the practices. And when they are, they need to be called out on it.
Right. And especially in this entertainment and everything else, like I was saying before, like even You know, mug get I mean, you can't deny like when you get a record deal or whatever. Or you know, especially in music, man. You know, motherfuckers go out and buy these chains, but y'all not going to. Ain't no black people owning that shit. You know what I'm
Bruh.
saying?
You know what
Y'all,
they making niggas do, man, to get record deals, man?
y'all spending millions for actually what you deserve anyway. And not for nothing, you're definitely overpaying. Period.
Bruh,
Because we over index in everything they sell us. So if it's Facebook to jewelry, as a people, especially in America, we over index it. We over index in that, bro. We support it more than any other culture, and we get shillings.
Peanuts and crumbs, bruh. You know what
Telling
they
you, brother.
now to argue that people with Jewish ancestry dominate the record labels is not altogether incorrect.
Well, because it's inherited. Shit, I mean, we would do the same thing if our parents were rich and left us endowments and all of that. Like, yeah, we would manage our companies in a similar way. You know, we may not bastardize the culture or a particular culture, but of course, the whole purpose is to keep that generational wealth flowing. So there's no discrepancy on that.
And look, if it's the case that these people are so fucking inclusive, I ain't never seen a Jewish motherfucker in the hood, man. I ain't never seen one now.
Collecting the rent. I'm from New York. They come to collect their rent.
Of course.
I don't see you
Right,
motherfuckers in the hood. I don't see you white motherfuckers in the hood, man. Y'all white too. I don't see you motherfuckers in the hood nowhere. And a few motherfuckers from your demographic who filled positions in the 60s and the 70s does not add up to the entirety of your demographic working in behalf of justice for people who are downtrodden and going through a thing, man. It don't add up, man. The math ain't mathing. And so therefore, like my man Loaded Luck said, you gon' get this work. You gon' get this work.
Hey. Imagine German people or even descendants of Nazis trying to shame the Jews for bringing up what they did in the Holocaust, right? Another thing I want to say when you talk about, you know, the few individuals, the few Jewish people that, you know, did this or that or whatever. You ever notice that when other groups of people, like, you know, have one or two people that did some good things, they generally want to paint that good thing over the whole group, right? But let one or two black motherfuckers do some shit, right?
Yeah.
See, we get judged on our worst, they get judged on their best, right?
I'm telling you.
They get measured on their best. We do that with not just Jewish people, but all white people.
Exactly.
You know, white. You know, you got white people in these, you know, metropolitan cities. They dress a certain way. You know, the image of the white man in your mind is the millionaire businessman CEO, and most of the country doesn't look like that for white
Absolutely.
folks.
We said that earlier.
Okay. I'm if I missed it on the video.
No.
On your conversation.
Come on with it, bro. I'm with
I
you.
don't listen. I don't live in small white towns, man.
Right.
Most of America, you know, as far as white folks is concerned, you know, they look like Married with Children, right? They look like The Simpsons. They look like Family Guy, all right, or worse. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But when we look on TV, we see, you know, Brad Pitt, right? This is what we see. But when you look on the news, you see black people. You know, we see the crackhead. You know, we see the gangster. We see the thug. You know, this is, and I've said it in a couple of my most recent videos. These are the minority among black people.
Right.
You know, the thug gangster is a minority.
Absolutely.
Right? It's a minority among black people, but that is the prevailing image of black people. Black men are the thug gangster, and the black women are the ratchet hoe.
Right.
And these are the images that we see, and that gets painted. That, you know, that minority, it gets painted over the whole group.
Yeah, it's
Right?
that broad brush. Right.
Right. But then we gotta see the one or two. It's like, all cops don't shoot black people. Well,
Right.
enough do,
That
motherfucker.
broad brush is great. Right.
Right. You know, so we have to always cite the small group of either Jewish or white people that may lend a brother a hand, right? And that gets credited to the whole group.
But peep it though.
Fuck
Let's
that.
look. You're right. Now let's look at the shit. This is what
Real
Yeezy
talk.
said that was so controversial.
For the Jewish people, what I'm doing is I'm me too in the Jewish culture.
Right.
I'm
Exactly.
saying, y'all gotta stand up and admit to what y'all been doing. And y'all just got away with it for so long that y'all don't even realize what y'all doing. And it's like, y'all can't fuck with me either because y'all behind that gated fence, y'all soft, y'all hands got soft. You ain't out here getting beat up every day like me. You ain't out here getting called crazy every day like me. You ain't out here getting your family snatched like me. You ain't out here half your culture getting aborted like me. You ain't out here getting outraged with false narratives like BLM like me. So for all the Jewish media, y'all want to sit down and have a conversation with me? Then let's have a conversation. But you ain't gonna send Harley Pasternak, Puff Daddy, Meek Mills, Kim Kardashian, none of the usual suspects, and get me to stop talking. You're going to have to take my life. I don't care if you Black Mirror me. I don't care if you do some of the alternative, what the thing was, show me talking, saying somebody didn't say. I don't care if you have me fucking a goat on camera. I don't care what you do. You're going to have, yeah. And by the way, and if you take my life, there's gonna be some college kid, some young Ye, some young Pac that's gonna even go harder. It's gonna, y'all thought George Floyd was gonna send it up. If you took my life right now, you're gonna see something you never saw. So we might as well have a conversation because I love you. I love the media platform.
And we love Jewish people. And we love Jewish people.
But I'm very mad. Yeah. I have a problem. The conversation ain't over. It ain't, okay, yay, clarify. It ain't nothing to be clarified until we have a conversation. You got Jamie Lee Curtis on TV talking about, I hope they take his children away from him.
Yeah.
It's up.
And that's what white women been doing from day one.
But it can't be narrowed down to, like you're saying. You're saying Jewish media, but it's the media. There's people obviously
I'm not narrowing down. I want Jewish children to look at their daddy and say, why is Jay mad at us? I want all the kids that love my shoes and love my songs to say, why is Jay mad? What have you done to his people?
They ain't done nothing. No, we ain't do nothing. We ain't do
right.
nothing.
Yeah, there's no culpability. You know, again, it's a narcissistic behavior as a people. There's no culpability with white folk, period. There's just none. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And other cultures have been able to come in and hijack civil rights, quote unquote, you know, in order to bastardize and commercialize that fact. Do you know what I mean? There's no reason why we should have to explain ourselves now. But why are we still explaining ourselves? Why are we having chicken dinners and they're getting quote unquote and sideways type of reparations? You feel me? And that goes for let's talk about, fuck that. For the Jews, cool. Let's talk about the Asians, bro. Like, you know, come in our community, man, and my man say he from New York, and y'all come in with the bodegas and shit. What we owning? What the fuck are we owning, bro?
So let me I'm gonna speak on some of that. Understand this, right? This is about power. All of this is about power. Okay. Ain't nobody gonna admit the shit they ain't got to admit to, right? Anybody that speaks the way this man is speaking has been punished, right? Now you see they did it to Nick and a few others. The thing about Ye is he's at a point like how they tried to get Chappelle, you know, that's a different mafia because this is a mafia. Understand what a mafia is, right? So the other mafia tried to get Dave.
Right.
And what held Dave down was Netflix. Right? Usually they shame the
and cancel.
Right, and they shame and cancel, but they cancel you by going at whatever company is paying you.
Exactly, your
right?
pocketbook, right?
Right, your pocketbook. Yeah. But not just your, but again, wherever you getting your bread, you go to your job, this and that, try to get you right.
Right.
See the difference with Ye and see motherfuckers call him coon and this and that. Understand, Ye has backdoored his way to this level.
Damn right.
And what motherfuckers don't understand, see that, and that's the thing, bro. G, I want you to hear me on this, right?
Okay.
What I need niggas to understand is everything does not have to be Front Street.
Yeah.
Everything doesn't have to be Front Street. Ye, at the expense of maybe some of his fans, maybe some of the adoration of black people, has backdoored his way to this level. He's backdoored his way to this level. Now that he's at this level, like he said, ain't shit you can do to me but kill me.
Right.
Because he won. He won. Right? And I agree with Mean Mommy. That's part of it. Maybe. Possibly. But I don't think Ye makes it to this level without his affiliation, his brief affiliation with the Kardashians. I think it would have been
absolutely. We talked about that earlier, man. Look,
right. I think it would have been a little difficult, right? The thing is, the thing is that he. So Don says, "What's backdoored?" In other words, he allowed these folks to think that he was aligned with them.
Sure.
All right, and that's the way you do it. You can't come kicking and swinging on the way up. Then you don't get into the rooms and the spaces.
Right.
But at this point, I'm gonna end it with this. At this point, he is one of the select few that can say these things without worrying about too much backlash that can actually affect what he's doing because they need him. I don't care what bank writes them off for this. I don't care about people. These black people on Facebook come out. That's right. He said this, and they gonna show him who's boss because they got him out of the bank, or this person doesn't want to do business with him and stuff like that. You think that there are other business entities, banks, and this and that and the other that don't give a fuck about his politics, that don't want to get money with Kanye West? You're crazy.
They grabbing that.
You're crazy. I'm sure as soon as JP Morgan Chase went up there and said, "Hey man, we ain't fucking with this motherfucker no more." That phone, you couldn't get through that line that day.
You understand me? You hear me?
But let me say this though. Like, so you got this guy here, Steve Dunn, that says Kanye isn't some martyr. But let me just say this.
We ain't saying that. Who said that?
Well, look, what Kanye West is a nigga in many of these people's eyes, just like any other niggas. Because just like, on the NWA album, where it was said, if you rich, you're a rich nigga. If you poor, you're a poor nigga. If you, any other type of nigga, you still just a nigga. Right. And a lot of people don't think that because, a lot of people think that because they got bread that they ain't gonna have nigger moments. Okay, now you do have to be discreet. Like, we already know how to code switch. Black people have mastered the art of code switching and being non-radical. And discreet is different,
but I hear you, right?
But Kanye West was able to brand himself after he said that shit at MTV about George Bush. He was able to brand himself as a rebel, as an asshole. Thank y'all for the assholes or whatever he said on one of his records.
Right, but it made him more million.
It made him more money, and it gained him the admiration of some others for being a truth teller. But
Which
we
again
need
is
somebody
commercial.
to be truth tellers, because in this culture right now, ain't nobody telling the motherfucking truth, man.
Right, and
Ain't
like I was
nobody
saying to
telling
you,
the truth, man.
look, and like I was saying
We're
earlier,
very few.
like I was
Yeah.
saying earlier, man, it's not unlike, of course, we're not talking status. I'm not talking status, but it's not unlike, let's talk about anybody. Bob Marley's let's just talk music. I brought up Bob Marley earlier and Prince. Like, you know what I'm saying? Once you go buck the system, then of course you're gonna get that backlash. Kanye, like my man said, Marcus said, man, like it's, he didn't go up the ladder swinging. I don't know if it was methodical. I think that he had lost his mom. He shit, whatever it was, he felt for Kim Kardashian. God bless that. But they have children because of that. So, but at the end of the day, he got in a position to where it is like, okay, well, yeah, there's nothing as he speaks like that they can do to him but kill him, and he doesn't. That's it, because it's not the way it used to be. He's cut from a different cloth in this realm of media. And like he said, I love the media. I love media presence because he's been able to use that and maximize the same thing that, as we talk about the fake hamburgers he's doing the exact same thing. And so that's genius.
Yeah, so you can't, one thing you can't say, like right now, Kanye West is in the entertainment fashion industry, no doubt.
Absolutely.
And I guarantee you, as someone who has had an ongoing career in a relationship in the white world, I can tell you most assuredly, he knows who the fuck he's dealing with and the kind of problems he's encountering in the domain in which he is become a billionaire.
Right.
So to say that he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about at all, and that he, just because he has an adverse and a sense of indignation at some of the practices that he's seen taking place, it's like he has the intel. He's getting it. He's telling you.
Yeah.
He's telling you straight up. These motherfuckers are playing games with us, bro. Like, let me show you something right quick. Let me show you something. This is what these
right.
When hip hop was
musical genius and what he's doing now,
before hip hop came into the gangster phase and all this shit, we had a balance in hip hop.
Absolutely.
And white people wasn't even involved in this promotion and this marketing.
Right.
They were not.
Yeah.
Just like house music. That shit came out of black clubs like the Warehouse in Chicago. Okay?
Again,
might be part of the reason why they call the music house music. But watch.
Yeah, comedy is similar. Black comedy is similar.
Look what the fuck they having Negroes do. And Negroes will put themselves out there, sadly, because they ain't got shit and they want to come up. This is what white people are doing and promoting and marketing and putting their effort and energy into. This shit.
Yeah, I know exactly what this is. Bobby.
Right. Love shared this with me earlier. I have no idea.
Bobby Shmurda's
yeah.
That's a very common thing at labels. Very common. Very common. You got to perform in a boardroom type of setting like that. That's a very common thing.
That's an auction block to me. Let's see you coon, nigga. Let's see you do the Daffy dance, nigga. Talk about how you gonna kill some niggas. Oh, we can put some money behind that. We think we can sell. And these people already understand. They know that the main demographic that purchases this shit are white males. They know who they selling this product to. They know it. And he ain't the only one doing it.
I already think he was twerk. If you broke, go to work. Make that big booty twerk. Make that big booty twerk. Twerk. Girl, I wanna see you twerk. I throw a little money to twerk.
This one I haven't seen.
Twerk. If you broke, go to work. Make that big booty twerk. Make that big booty twerk. Can I touch that booty?
Look at all the white women and watching them virtually, deciding how they gonna spend money or not.
Right.
With the black on. You in the front. Hey. Hey. You gotta stand up to me so I can't see you. I need to see you. Hey.
Yeah, can't see.
And this is a man who is getting money in the hood. That man is not poor doing that.
Right.
No, he ain't.
Right. Right.
But here's the issue. That's that shit. That's not uplifting rap music. That ain't no Public Enemy. That ain't Tribe Called Quest. That ain't De La Soul. It ain't even Nas.
Right.
This is some fucking nigga shit. This is nigga shit.
Yeah, it's some tap dancing, reversal, history shit. That's sad, bro. And
look,
I say that because fuck that. Like, you know, as you brought up gangster rap and all of that shit before that came in, but he's you know, you're not taking your money. Look, motherfucking what's his name down in New Orleans, man, came up. You know, I ain't never been a gangster rap music fan or none of that shit, but damn, from New Orleans. But anyway,
Master
man,
P?
Master P. He was one of the first to come out the trunk making that bread.
But you know, but Roos, ever since high school, you've been listening to Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Skeeter Mouse, and fucking Black Uhuru and shit. You don't really fuck with rap music. And you never really have because you didn't like the messaging behind it.
Exactly.
You didn't like the kill, murder, none of that shit, because we come from murder, kill areas.
I'm talking St. Louis.
We got family members.
Real shit.
One of your family members is the biggest gangster on the north side.
You're damn right.
Like, biggest dope dealer gangsters, we know who he is.
Yeah.
And no future in them niggas.
Right.
Got videos with them niggas.
You hear me?
You understand what I'm saying? Biggest crip set in motherfucking the whole north side.
Yeah.
We know who they are.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of the day, this shit, man, is influencing generations of kids, man. Black kids.
Right.
This is influence. White kids observe this shit and they go on to law school. You got, I ain't saying no black kids go on to law school. That's not what I'm saying.
They are too, you know what I'm saying? But any effort to defame our culture is not acceptable. Period. I don't give a fuck if it's 1% or 50%.
It would be fair to say that hip hop didn't start out this way. And it eventually went that direction.
Because of commercialism. Money. You know, corporate entities. You know, and you know, I said this earlier too, talking with G, like, bro, like, you know, I saw something that said, man, the more, you know, be careful, because the more money you make, then the dumber you get, because then the money starts dictating what comes out of your mouth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So again, it's the element that's between education and intelligence and just, you know, just human nature. And come on, man, you know, it could be a difficult thing to balance, but we have to do it. And that's where we have to tie up our boots. You
And just
understand
like
me?
Chukwe Igwe says, they have commodified black stereotypes and are making billions on music that degrades our image and influences black children to conform to these negative stereotypes. And yes, Jewish people participate in the fucking practice. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. This brother here said, and I wanna draw out the difference between a real Jewish motherfucker, I would say, and these motherfuckers who are exploitative. The brother can't. I mean, I don't know where his comment is. He says hip hop is run by Lear Cohen. Okay, we even had a conversation about Lear Cohen and his involvement with Rockefeller and how did he split up Dame and Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say he did it all by himself, but he sure didn't say, "Hey, look, you need to keep this collective together, man, and do what we would do and stick with our people." You know what I'm saying? And help lift them up. Don't just think about yourself, but think about, how collectively we can improve the entirety of our community through your success or, that type of shit. No, he was like, fuck Dame. I don't like how this nigga is challenging me and my authority in this commercial institution, this corporation. Which Leah know he was doing some fuck shit. He know he was. But Jay-Z probably gave him, the door to open to do the fuck shit. But this ain't Leah Cohen ain't Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin is the shit to me. I fucks with Rick Rubin. I even fuck with the Beastie Boys, and they Jewish. I fuck with them, because they hip-hop all day to me. Def Jam, Beastie Boys, they hip-hop to me. That's just my opinion, okay?
Right.
Rick Rubin wasn't like, oh, well, we got to make these niggas buck and dance and shit like that. He put out Public Enemy. He produced records for Public Enemy. So I'll forever fuck with Rick on that score. But some of these other guys, if they're engaged in fuckery, we got to call it out and put it out there how it is. And just because y'all went through some shit, don't mean that you can't get called out for the shit you currently engaged in. That's the only point, bro.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
I think
point.
we can't allow that to be. I mean, easier said than done. We can't allow that to be the norm. Like, you know what I'm saying? Collective energy is collective energy. And again, if we pull our resources together, there's no reason. We're talking about individual people and how they gain and spend their bread. So, I'm not getting ready to tell you how to do that, but if we can build when I said the Asians and all of that, everybody's been able to come in and hijack and bastardize the same opportunities that now, especially, that we can put our hands on. And if we didn't know, COVID blew that shit out the water because it was like, okay, well, shit, you can get these loans and this, that, and the other, right? But what are you doing with it? Make that shit make money in your sleep.
Yeah, that resident,
don't
that residual money.
Wake up and drive the car that you spent that money on. No, make it make money in your sleep. Where you know what I'm saying. Where you have to use the same business plan to be able to market yourself and your brand and build that to where then there's no stopping you. But we, again, over-indexing as a people, we tend to just want to, really unwisely spend commerce, bro.
And shout out to my pops, man. Hold on, wait a minute, Ruth. Shout out to my father, man. He just
big up, Pop.
He watching. He act like he don't be watching, but my father be watching this shit. I love Pops though. I got to give Pops some motherfucking give him some honors, man. Got to give him a transformer.
That's what's up.
Shout out to Pops, man. Shout out to you, Pops. He just sent me some shit. The Jews, Columbus, and Thanksgiving. He just sent me a text and shit. So shout out to my pops, man.
Yeah, big up.
Big up to him, man.
Check this out. Oh, I'm sorry. You saying something?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
The reason why we don't get a lot of our people coming out and saying stuff like this is because we know what happens when you say this stuff. You get like has already been said. You get canceled. Left out in cold. This and that. The funny thing is, we are quick to cancel our people quicker even than these people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me say this, right? As much as black people want their celebrities to come out and say things like this, just understand this. And I want, everybody that got an issue with Ye in the chat, I want you to hear this. Do you support these people in their ability to come out and say the things that you want them to say? Do you stand behind them in any way, financially even? I mean, we know that, the cops who shot unarmed black men and even the neighborhood watch guy got GoFundMes and all types of collections to their legal defense team and this, that, and the other. We had a whole BLM who did nothing for black people, right?
True.
Let's throw that out there.
Facts.
If you want the truth spoken, now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Keep It 100 because I keep it 100. If you want the truth spoken, do you support motherfuckers in their truth telling?
And
right?
That's the issue. So
I'm gonna close it up it's to the point where the guys who tell the truth, you understand what I'm saying? They have to, at times protect themselves.
Juggle.
And hide it. Like some of us gotta hide our identities. We can't even put out who we are. So understand that
you gotta juggle that shit, right?
Yeah, right. So here you got a guy whose name is Kanye West, who's doing that, and he's been doing that for a long time, ever since George Bush doesn't care about black people. Right. He can't do it that way because you know what? If he does it that way, then he gets destroyed. Right? If he does it that way, kicking and screaming, and you know why? Because if he lets himself fall, niggas ain't gonna catch him.
Right.
Niggas ain't gonna catch him. So of course, whatever he has to do to backdoor, and I'm gonna keep using the word backdoor, right? His way to a point where now, because this man has been outspoken, it's a part of his being. He's outspoken. I'm an outspoken person. Now, for those familiar with me, you see my face because I have created a space where I can come on here and say what the fuck I want and not worry about the backlash. And this man from the beginning has built himself up because he knows that part of his character is that he's outspoken. So now he has to build his life around his outspokenness so that he doesn't have to fall for niggas to catch him. And look who's trying to kick him down, or at least joining the ranks of the people trying to kick him down. It's almost like motherfuckers want to celebrate this man falling off where he is. Understand that. He had to create his life so he wouldn't have to rely on niggas to catch him from telling the truth. Y'all need him to speak. The truth, y'all need him to say. The shit that we all have sat around, everything that we're saying right now has been spoken in our circles. We talk about all this Jewish shit. We talk about the Illuminati. We talk about the Rothschilds and all this other shit. But this nigga's crazy. What is he talking? That nigga's crazy.
Really? Right.
Why is he saying, oh my God, what, why did he do that?
Yeah.
You know what? Dave Chappelle a long time ago said,
nobody said he was a prophet. I'm sorry, bro.
No, nobody said
exactly.
Like, motherfuckers always be reaching, man. I'm sorry, G. Motherfuckers always be reaching. The motherfucker telling the truth is not prophecy, motherfuckers. And nobody worshiping Kanye. Nobody's dick riding. Nobody's none of this shit. I don't own none of this nigga's albums. The truth is the fucking truth is the fucking truth is the fucking truth.
Man,
That's
it.
Say
Say it again.
So don't try to make it like, oh, y'all worshiping him. He's a cult leader. Yo, fuck you. Fuck you,
fuck
nigga.
Out of here with that shit.
Get the fuck out of here. Fuck you, nigga. CLC.
Right.
Fuck you. This is Marcus saying it, nigga. Fuck you.
Real shit.
The nigga's saying some real shit. Benefit from the shit and step. Go ahead, G. My bad.
See, look. At the end of the day, man, look, put it this way.
Great shit.
Put it this way, bro. Black men don't need permission to speak. Black men have a moral imperative to speak. And we don't give a fuck who it pisses off. See, white people are playing this fucking game, acting as if a feeling or a sentiment is racism when they control the structures in the institutions and subject even billionaires to bullshit. Because right now, you can say all you want to about Kanye and how much money he got and how he untouchable and all this shit. But he ain't got access to his fucking kids. And you got some white bitch on TV talking about, oh, well, you know what? Take his kids from him. Take his kids.
Right.
This is the sort of game we involved in.
Yeah. That's
this the sort of game we involved in.
That's not entertaining.
And this shit can happen if a billionaire nigga kids can be taken from him. What'll happen to yours?
Exactly. And these niggas celebrating that shit even. But they're mad at child support, mad at child custody. But when it happened to Kanye, yay! Niggas is so fucking stupid.
You hear me?
At the end of the day, what we have to do is allow for and permit for men, whether they, Yeezy, whoever the fuck. Right now, we got a whole bunch of nincompoops and cupcake motherfuckers. I hate to say this, I love Nori. But Nori pulling his support and yanking that video, man, that was a cowardly move, man. It was based purely on commercialism and your involvement with branding, bro.
That shit came from up above, though. You know that's Diddy.
Yeah, it did.
That's Diddy, bro. That's Diddy.
And Diddy, stop your bullshit, too. You on some bullshit, Diddy. Diddy, you are being a fuck nigga right now. What happened to the situation in which a long time ago, men can hash it out and correct each other through the discourse as opposed to just banning the discourse post, not post, but a priori. A lot of this shit can be corrected, but as Kanye said, these motherfuckers don't even want to have a conversation. And the same with these feminists, man, and a whole bunch of even the LGBTQ motherfuckers. They are silencing people and basically have created a situation in which corporations have become the arbiters of morality.
Yeah.
This is the shit we're dealing with.
Silence. Look. Let's keep keeping it a buck. We've been doing that. Silence is acquiescence, bro. Silence is acquiescence, man. So at some point, man. Don't. Yeah, let him talk. Don't. You know what I'm saying? And don't. Don't monitor shit. Either you air the shit or you don't. You owe no apologies to anybody because again, if we're not talking about it, who the fuck is, dog? Who the fuck is, man?
Yeah, what people don't understand is the media can create your image to the world. It don't matter what you motherfuckers don't understand this shit. The media, because motherfuckers are so stupid. The media can chop and screw, right? Anything about you,
right?
And Ye fucked his relationship up with the media early. We remember old Ye throwing cameras on the ground, the paparazzi and all that shit. Understand this, right? The same motherfuckers who are at home mad at a Jay-Z for not bucking against the NFL or mad, but watching the games, but at home watching the games, right? Watching the football game, but mad Jay-Z signed a contract with the motherfuckers that they watching the entertainment.
Right.
Mad at this is the contradiction that I don't like with niggas, where they want their stars to be on Front Street and risk their shit, but these are the motherfuckers that go to work and kiss their boss ass so they don't lose their job, right? So you want this motherfucker over here to fuck up his family money, whoever he got to support, whoever his wife, kids, extended family, and shit like that relies on them to take care of them. So, if they don't do that, they cooning. But nigga, you go to work, and when you in the boardroom and they talk that crazy shit, you chuckle.
You ain't saying shit.
You ain't saying shit. But you want everybody else to be Malcolm X, but your ass.
But let me say this though.
But when the motherfucker,
one more thing, G, the same motherfucker that's getting disenfranchised in that boardroom, you ain't saying a motherfucking thing. But then when you meet that same person in the parking lot, you say, "Well, man, look, I was with you. You come on, get the fuck out of here with that shit."
Or they go at him when the motherfucker do the shit. When they do the shit.
Correct.
When they do the shit, the motherfucker, somebody need to do this. And then they do the shit, and then you look at them like they crazy or they something wrong with them.
Correct.
They calling Nick Cannon crazy. They tried that shit on him.
Right.
And niggas roll with it. The shit that bothers me, G, is that niggas roll with it. They roll with it. They roll with it. The nigga said,
bro.
He said one more thing, G, and I swear to God.
Okay.
What is it?
Let me say this. Let me say this first.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna let you say what you got to say. Okay.
Right.
David Trencher says, "I'm with Floyd, fam. Keep his name out his mouth." I get that because I understand that sentiment. Okay. Like, I'm not saying that I support and endorse everything that Kanye says.
Exactly.
That's not like my issue with this whole censoring, canceling, we're banning him or deplatforming him or whatever. I don't think anybody should be deplatformed. In fact, most of the motherfuckers that are platformed, wait a minute, most of the motherfuckers who are platformed or engaged, they ain't coming out and calling you a nigga, but they niggering you anyway.
Right.
That's the issue. I know when a motherfucker is patronizing me and niggering me. I know it. I can sense it and feel it.
Sure.
So therefore, don't basically come out and act like you're on the right side of justice because you got the right attitude, but still engaged in systematic, institutional, and legal practices that lead to the decimation and the wholesale fucking ramshacking of our goddamn population.
Yeah,
that's
you
my
don't
issue.
Matter. Right.
So yeah, go ahead and respond to old boy. He did leave a chat, so I'm
my question is this, right? My question is this. For everybody who, might, because I'm with G. I don't agree with everything Ye says. I don't agree with everything he does or the way necessarily that he does it. I think he speaks more truth than anything else. His delivery leaves much to be desired, right?
Right.
At times, but the motherfucker tells more truth than he doesn't. But understand this. I want to ask motherfuckers hearing me a question. When your friends and family say shit you disagree with, do you cancel them? Do you call their job and say they should fire this person? Do you call their landlords and tell them you should evict this person? I wonder what it is about famous people that if they say left and you believe right, that they must be destroyed. But you don't do this with your personal circle. In your personal circle, people are allowed to disagree and y'all keep it moving. Right? But when it comes to celebrities, if someone disagrees or says something that you don't like or say something that you don't disagree with, you can't just say, you know what? I'm not fucking with that point of view. I'm not fucking with that opinion. No, you want to throw the whole nigga away. And the funny thing is, guess where you got that from? You got it from white people.
You hear me? It's systemic.
Because you only
it's hatred. It's hatred, envy, and grudge. And so that same electric bill that you got right now, you got to pay that shit with real money. But you're investing your time and interest into somebody that has nothing to do with you. And you feel like your word means something to cancel them. And then once you group up with a bunch of people, then somehow you're validated?
Right.
So let me say this.
How is that valid? Explain
one more question.
That shit. I'm
One
with
more
you,
question for the.
Marcus. How the
One,
fuck do
I'm
you
sorry.
explain that?
One more
I'm
question for
just
the
talking.
chat. Because David Drencher said, this ain't no personal convo, bro. This nation business. So let me ask this question to you and to anyone with that sentiment, right? And this ain't no defense of Ye. Again, this ain't fan shit. This ain't worship shit or none of that shit. This is just common sense shit. Tell me, because to me, the coon is the motherfucker that tell the slave master, these niggas trying to escape. These niggas ain't picking their cotton, boss. Right? They them niggas, right? Which to me sound like some of y'all niggas. But let me ask the question, right? Let me ask the question. What has Kanye said or done to destroy a black person?
You understand me?
To destroy their livelihood,
right?
To destroy their family, to destroy us as a group progressing. Answer that question. And if you can't, sit the fuck down and be quiet while grown folks are talking.
Straight up.
So
Straight
look,
up and down, man. Consider all of this shit entertainment, because that's what it is. Because if you're buying into what he has going on in his personal life and how he's dealing with it, where the fuck does it matter to you? Period.
So look, at the end of the day, this is my viewpoint. I don't like what he said about George Floyd. There's a million. I ain't gonna say a million. It's hundreds. In my hood, it's a whole bunch of George Floyds. See, a lot of you niggas don't come from the mud. I come from an area. I ain't gonna say I came directly out of the mud because my mother had a career. I'm lucky. Like, it's some motherfuckers I know, God bless the dead, man, was crackheads themselves. But I never disrespected them because I know they're human beings as well. You understand what I'm saying?
And you never know what somebody's going through. So again, that judgment piece is irrelevant, as it applies to human and mankind. You understand me? So
I understand, bro.
There's
So my viewpoint on it is, I'm not saying that they have walked the perfect path, but don't judge lest ye be judged. Don't, start throwing stones from a glass house. Don't point the finger at motherfuckers when you got three pointed back at you. So at the end of the day, I'm not saying George Floyd was perfect. And most of, see, this is the problem. And I'm going to end it on this, okay? Because we've been rocking for 2 hours. But here's the deal. Here's the deal now. Much of what we have going on in terms of discussion has now been relegated to political correctness to such an extent that people can't even express themselves, especially black people. I don't give a fuck. Kanye came from Southside Chicago. I ain't saying it's the worst place in the world, but it ain't the best place in the world for a black boy to grow up. Okay? Shit. He came and he made something out of himself through the sweat off his brow. The same pull him up shit y'all talking about, he did it.
Right.
Okay? The same shit y'all laud as being alpha male and shit in the space, he did it. Okay? He pulled himself up. Not only that, he's bumping heads with some of these white folks in the industry. He's understanding he's having nigger moments that he shouldn't have to have. And he's trying to clear a path for some of us. Now, maybe he might be taking 2 steps backwards, sometimes taking 2 steps forward. Okay?
Right.
But at the end of the day, censorship is not the way to rectify our problems. Voting with a heart emoji, a thumbs up, or a thumbs down ain't changing shit in the social landscape of the world. It is a means by which you can engage in full voyeuristic activism that adds up to fucking nothing.
Right. Straight up and down.
All this voyeuristic activism shit.
Right.
I ain't saying that there's nothing to it at all, because I think the social media can be used as a powerful tool.
Right.
Because the Arabs created a revolution with the shit. However, trying to silence people, trying to relegate people to eradication and obliteration predicated on a few comments, especially black men. I don't give a fuck. Like, if the black man is rich, if he's poor, He should have a voice, and if he says something that's untoward or out of the way, he should be corrected for it by the same method that he said it, through dialogue.
Right.
He can be corrected through dialogue.
Exactly.
But canceling a motherfucker
communication,
is
yeah,
a form of power and control.
Right.
And it's managed by people who are faker than too phony as a $3 bill.
Right.
These people don't give a fuck about us. They not really diverse. They not really including people. They just acting like they doing that shit with public relations campaigns so they can fucking cancel anybody they want to, which in and of itself is a form of oppression.
Exactly.
Canceling a motherfucker, taking a motherfucker kids away, asking that their kids be kept away, asking that they lose their money, asking for people to be banished and exiled is evil.
Yeah. You want to hear some shit, G?
And I'm done with it.
You want a Jew analogy? Imagine black people as Jews watching these white people as Romans crucify Kanye West and cheering this shit on.
Yeah.
A crazy man cannot sit in all these boardrooms, all these conference rooms, all of these meetings, flying from state to state or country to country to the point where he becomes a billionaire.
Right.
With these white folks, Understand, the motherfuckers that talk a lot of shit, they don't understand business. They don't understand that environment, corporate. And you sitting amongst these people, the very people he's talking about. Right. You understand what I'm saying? The very people he's talking about, he just like G's already outlined it. He's experienced these people, dealing with them telling him what they can and can't do, or he can't and can do in reference to him and his business and what he might have seen them do for someone in their tribe, right? Oh, nah, we can't do that with you, Ye. But you know, we over here with this tribe. You know, they hated on what's his name? What's the guy that went to Supreme Court over the cable thing? Byron Allen.
Right.
I watched black motherfuckers want him crucified, celebrated his loss in Supreme Court, not knowing that he was going on legal precedent.
Right.
That could actually benefit anybody that was coming after him, your ass trying to get up there on his level and get money. But it's beneficial to your hate for your people that he trip and fall. You understand what I'm saying? And I hate watching niggas stand and cheer on while, white people light the stake up to burn a nigga.
Right.
That's some sad shit, man. And you wonder why you get motherfuckers that be like, well, then fuck y'all niggas. You wonder why. Because it's more benefit. All these coons, the guys who go on Fox News and this and another place and then they separate themselves from you, the Candace Owenses and the this ones and the that ones. You wonder why these people exist. You wonder why these people exist, because if they were speaking for you, fighting for you, out there on the front line for you, you'd let them die. You would let them die. You'd put them out there and you lock all your doors up because you inside, let the monster get them. That's what you do.
Yeah.
So look, man, let me do some housekeeping right quick, and then we're going to wrap it up and get the fuck up on out of here, man. Shout out to Ramella Scuggs, man. 747, shout out to you, brother. Appreciate your donation, man. Jam4 777, man. He says it's mob mentality, Greek sense. We get enjoyment from being able to destroy from safety. Like a Roman gladiator stadium, we enjoy spectacle. True indeed, my brother Jam4. Shocks 112, man. I wanted you to come up the last time, man. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to come up, not today, but I want you to, get off what you had to get off your chest. But he says, Shocks 112, exactly. Growing up and watching the late 80s and early 90s, a crackhead said he was my uncle when the police tried to arrest us and log us into the gang database. Damn. But at the end of the day, man, all I can say is this. Is Kanye West losing his mind? No more than any of you other Negroes out here are losing yours.
Yes, it's a vital part of humanity and us as a people particularly, but just any anything, man. I think, yeah, man, mental health is mental wealth, and it brings more wealth than not looking in the mirror and self-reflecting. However you go about it, it's important. Because it's very easy to lo- to lose yourself out here. We know that, just in day-to-day life, where we're not talking about money or nothing like that, just just in dealing with people in general, whether it's our families or our peers, bro. It's important to, and a lot of times with us, man, we don't see it. I'm personally seeing it now as I've gotten older. Shit, I've done some destructive things as well for my mental health, but it wasn't in everybody's viewpoint, like Kanye. You understand? And so I think,
Yeah, I get it, bro.
sure, is
Look,
he losing his mind? Yeah, we're all susceptible to that,
Right.
and that's why it's important to make that paramount, in how we live and treat people, period, and more importantly, how we treat ourselves.
there you go, my brother. So thank you, Roots, man. You know I rock
Yo,
with you.
bless
You
up,
my
love.
friend, man. I've been knowing you
Bless
since
up, brother.
kindergarten, dog. You know me for
Yo,
real. You know what I'm saying?
Marcus, bless up, brother. Yeah,
Most
man.
deaf. Most deaf.
Yeah,
I want I
I
want to
rocks with
answer
you.
that. I want to answer that question. I'll make it as short as I can. This is the thing. You said, is Kanye losing his mind? If anybody, right? Anybody here who has aspired to do anything has gone through some shit, like mentally, like when you come up on a stumbling block, whether that stumbling block is an issue, an incident, or even a person, right?
Sure.
I've done a lot. People who know me, I've done a lot of things, and I've had issues, whether they were things, incidents, or
For
people,
people. Sure.
or even groups of
Sure.
people. We know that
Sure.
when you're the higher you trying to go, that's when you're gonna encounter them people,
There you go.
right? And for everything that this guy has tried to do and has dealt with, that shit, you got people, some people are stronger than others. I mean, Dave Chappelle said it. He's like, you look at these people in entertainment even, and you see them going through whatever they going through, Martin running through the middle of the street with the gun and this and that and the other. He said, these are not crazy people, right? Now, you can
Yeah.
have a breakdown. I don't know if anybody here has ever had a breakdown.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But,
Yeah.
it gets to a point where it's like, yo, like, when you're trying to make things happen, you're gonna go through these days or weeks where, yo, that's the issues of the people that are fucking with you, trying to keep you away from what you're trying to get to. And Kanye is an extremely motivated person. It takes a motivated motherfucker to get that rich. Okay, when you're a motivated person, like, yo, like, I really need to win, and you're dealing with those issues, it's gonna fuck with you. Shit, I'm extremely motivated, and I'm nowhere near where this man is. So but I can relate. I can
Yeah.
relate.
Yeah.
And this motherfuckers, the people who are talking the most shit are people who have never tried to do shit in their life. So they can't relate. You can't relate, nigga. You can't relate.
so
Right.
Right.
it's like Dave Chappelle, and this is my
That
last comment, and then
voyeurism.
we're gonna wrap it
That
up.
voyeurism, like Luke talked about earlier. Yeah.
So it's easy to sit back and reflect and judge and assess another person's character. But like I said before, for all intents and purposes, this man is done more than any of us has done in a very brief period of time.
Right.
He's lived the American dream. He's become rich and famous. And he's had access to some of the baddest bitches out here. Okay? And this world, man, will make you crazy. Because we don't have a support system in high places like they do.
There we go.
He can, like Dave Chappelle said, these people are not crazy, and to call them crazy is dismissive.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Yeah.
the environment is crazy. Maybe
Right.
the culture
Hear me?
in Hollywood and entertainment is actually fucked up and crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe the people who run it and direct it are sick.
It's
And maybe not the
hyper-dysfunctional.
people, maybe not the people who are reacting in a frantic way to it. Maybe they're not so fucked up after all. Maybe they're shaking off the symptoms. Maybe they're showing the symptoms of being around something that's toxic and nuclear and radioactive for so long. So it is
and
what
at
it
some
is.
point in
And
life, man, you got to say, fuck this shit. I'm finna put this, I'm finna express myself, give a fuck about what the fuck y'all talking about, especially in his position and Dave Chappelle's position, as we've watched. We were on the front row of these people's lives and wasn't invited necessarily, but we just saw
motherfuckers looking at people like the Truman Show, or they watching some shit like a Hunger Games, or they like, coaching from the couch on why this nigga didn't make this cut. This nigga on the field. This nigga's on the field. Your ass on the sidelines talking about he in the game. Your ass sitting on the sidelines talking about why he ain't shoot that shot.
Right. Maybe his leg hurt that day. You don't feel it. He feel it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe the floor was slippery.
Mason DeFront, I don't know who you are, but it look like you some white motherfucker. But I tell you this, hey man, he a black billionaire and he's still a nigga. And y'all love to put niggas in their place, no matter what the fuck they got. And that's the issue we got with you motherfuckers. Y'all act like y'all standing on the side of justice when y'all don't rock with niggas in the first fucking place. So having said all that, I'll holler at you, man. You know what I'm saying? This the Green Gorilla channel.
You ain't got to, you hear me?
This the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no motherfucking chases. I'll holler at y'all next time, man. Hey, go check out your boy Tia Johnson. He rocking right now.
Oh,
so,
he is? Okay.
Yeah, so I'll holler at y'all on the next one, man.
Hey, man,
y'all be
much
blessed.
love, my brother.
Even the haters, man, y'all be blessed, man.
100.
Much love. All right.
Peace.